guys? Welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy. He is 31 years old. He was married for 5 years, and he's presently just a few months away from finalizing his divorce. And like a lot of guys, he thought he was in a really happy marriage until his wife dropped the bombshell on him of wanting to have a, wait for it, open relationship. Unfortunately for her, in the last few years of his marriage, for whatever reason, this guy started really educating himself and immersing himself in RP content. So, when she proposed this idea, he already knew from obviously some common sense, some self-worth, and also educating himself in this type of material. He knew then and there, it's over. The marriage is over, and also that if she's asking for this, the odds are one of two things. Either A, she's already hooking up with some dude and essentially wants permission to therefore no longer make it cheating, twist things around a little bit. Or two, that she already has one guy or multiple guys lined up so that she wants to hook up with, but obviously she's not going to do it because that'd be cheating. But if she can get this guy to agree to it, then it's not cheating. I knew it was over. And let's just say, guys, how he handles it like a boss. He handles it in a way you're all going to be proud. He handles it the exact opposite how the majority of guys handle a situation like this, which is the wrong way. And let me tell you, she gets the shock of a lifetime. It's beautiful. Because I've done too many of these stories where these guys do the wrong thing and get burnt and taken advantage of and hurt, and it's really, I'm tired of it. But guys are starting to learn, and it's great. And it goes to show that this content really helps out guys. Whether they're single, young guys starting out in the world, or guys already married. It's important to learn this type of knowledge. And I gotta tell you, you don't have to like me. You don't have to like how I talk, how I look, my personality, but just listen to this content. Listen to enough of these real stories and you start to notice patterns. And people may not like me to watch this channel because I know I got haters, and believe me, I know this every single day. But this does help people. These are real things that happen, and after a while, you start really learning things that can protect you one day down the road. So, that being said, here we go. He says, hello, SSM. I wasn't sure if I wanted to share my story with your community, but I figured that might help some guys out there, so why not? When everything happened, I thought I was in a solid marriage, but I'm not sure if those exist anymore. Ever since COVID started, I spent a lot of time watching RP content and ran across your channel. I'll probably earn a smack from you, but if so, I'll wear it as a badge of honor. Unfortunately, I've joined a club that none of us want to be in. All of this happened last year, and I'm now a few months from the finalization of my divorce after 5 years of what I thought was a happy marriage. So many guys say that. You're not alone, brother. So many stories. Guys thought they were in a happy marriage. Everything was great. You're not alone. And I know from this story you did your part to be a good husband to her. So it's not your fault. It's her. He says, I'm 31 years old and my ex-wife is 30. If you do the math, we were probably too young to get married, but I thought I knew her pretty well. I was wrong. Yeah, dude, you were way too young, because it sounds like you were about 26 years old when you tied the knot. Way too freaking young. You were younger. You didn't watch this type of content. You didn't know. You did what everybody else does. You thought you found this amazing girl and all that. Way too young. Guys shouldn't get married if you're going to get married. And you know my opinion on marriage in the 2020s, how things are today. But if you're going to do it, in my opinion, guys shouldn't get married before they're 30 years old or darn close to it. That way they got plenty of time to really, and I mean really, spend years with the girl to get to know her, see what she's like with money, if you guys see eye to eye in terms of spending, saving, where you want to live, values, all that, how she resolves conflict and problems, what her family's like, all these things. And I might add, the guy has time to put away money, watch it grow, get a nice nest egg going there, start to kick ass with his retirement savings, maybe get a place, move up in the career, get a solid position in his job, all these important things. And maybe a little bit along the way, may realize, I don't want to get married. But get married when you're that age, 25, 26, when you're just maybe a few years out of college or a few years into a trade, too young. And you're going to see I'm right. He says, I met Janet at a work function. She didn't work at the same company, but it was a guest of one of the ladies that worked there. It was actually Janet that approached me, and we ended up having a nice evening talking and dancing. By the end of the night, we traded phone numbers, and over the following 3 months, we started dating exclusively. That, I might also add, was too soon. 3 months is too soon to jump into an exclusive relationship, in my opinion. You know why? Because you want her to work to get you. If in less than 3 months you're already in an exclusive relationship, she doesn't have to work too hard to get to you. And let me tell you, we all appreciate things in life that we have to work hard to get. So this is why very beautiful women that don't have to do anything to get a guy have no respect for guys, because they can get a guy just like that. But the guys they really want are the ones they have to work to get. So I might add here, for you relationship guys, don't go rushing into a relationship. Make it 6 months at least. And if she doesn't like waiting, so what? Find someone else. Because if you're a guy that does well for himself, building him up to the best he can be is a catch, in the opinion of women. They'll wait for you. They'll wait. They'll wait. They'll be bitching about it, but they'll wait because they want to get you because you're the prize. But if you give in too easily, they don't see you as a prize. Long story short, we were married for almost 3 years before she brought up the idea of getting married. I'm not going to lie and say that her chasing me wasn't a nice ego boost, and we worked really well together. My only condition was that we both signed a prenuptial agreement. We both signed prenuptial agreements, not just one agreement. And after watching my mom fleece my dad in divorce, separate finances, she agreed. Good, bro. You had good head on your shoulders for doing that. And guys, this will come back to be a very important thing at the end of this story. So there I was, 26 years old and married to a woman that I thought adored me. The next 5 years are pretty good. So you thought. Not perfect, but what relationship is? The only real disagreements we had were about going out with our friends and doing single people's events. She had a couple of friends that were always trying to get her to go out clubbing with them. Of course she does. Because those girls are, I'm assuming, still in their mid to late 20s. So they're out there riding the carousel, being party girls. And I'm sure there's a part of them that wants their old wing girl back. And he says here, and I've always followed the advice from my dad about girlfriends. Nothing ever good happens after midnight when alcohol is involved. Very wise. Notice that came from his dad. As long as the dads have a clue, you want to go to men that have, that have knowledge. Don't go to women to get advice about other women and dating and relationships and all that. You're asking for trouble. The problem was easily solved when she suggested going out with her friends. I told her that if she was going to start acting like she was single, so would I. That usually ended the conversation. Good for you, man. I wasn't sure if it was her idea to go with her friends or the suggestion for her to come, but after a few years it was clear that it was something she wanted to do, and I was starting to think it might have made a mistake getting married. That may have been what triggered you starting to watch RP content online and start educating yourself. And listen to your gut, because as it turns out, your gut was right. I love my wife. I never looked at another woman, although I had plenty of opportunities. Because you're a good man, that's why. Because you actually stuck to the vows. I'm sure you have plenty of opportunities, dude. Plenty of us do. Plenty of guys that are watching this right now that are married in relationships had opportunities, but they didn't do it because they weren't scumbags. And they get cheated on by gals who they thought had their back. Before I start rambling too much, Janet never went to the clubs with her friends. I only mentioned that to express what her mindset was, and from the content I've seen her the last couple of years, I could see that she was starting to get restless in our marriage. Still, we had a good thing going, and I thought everything was fine. She'd bring up something to test my boundaries, and I would check her, and life would return to normal. See? What I tell you guys about testing. They're always going to test your boundaries, and you got to act like a man and check them, or say no. Just like little kids. Little kids are always testing what they can get away with their parents, with their guardians, with teachers at school. And you got to nip it in the bud right away. Otherwise, there'll be more tests, more bullshit. And the tests can be little tests or big tests. It was early last year when everything changed. I can still remember the day like it happened yesterday, and while I wish things had turned out differently, you can't control what other people are going to do. It was a Saturday afternoon, and Jen and I were home trying to figure out what we were going to do that night. I don't remember the movie, but we were talking about going out that night when she dropped the bomb of my life. The bomb of my life. Out of nowhere, she brought up the idea of an open marriage. Now, I'd never been that guy to sleep around, and the idea instantly repulsed me. That was when I started remembering all the RP content that I'd seen and the consistent message that when they bring up the topic, it was because they were already hooking up with someone else or they know who they want to hook up with. Exactly. Now imagine if she brought this up and you didn't study that type of content. How would you react then? I was crushed. I had no idea if that was the case, but there was no doubt in my mind that if she was bringing it up, the idea were already in her head. All the plans we had worked for over the last 5 years were in flames, and I asked if she was serious. She went on to tell me for almost 30 minutes how it would make us a better couple, to have more experiences where we could share with each other. What a load of crap. And by the way, I'm sure many of you guys that watch these videos notice a pattern here. They always try to sell the guy on this idea how great it will be for our relationship and blah, blah, blah. The cake and eat it too. She got her magical day where she got to be the bride. She's got that ring on her finger. She gets to be a Mrs. Somebody. She got to show to the world that she could get a guy to commit to her and marry her. She gets the benefits of obviously another income helping provide. Now she wants to go back to riding the carousel. And I want to point out something, guys. This is very important. What age is she right now? 30. The age all women fear. And she's probably starting to notice that I'm not getting as much looks and attention as I did 5 years ago. So now she's got to prove to herself that guys still want her. What I tell you about attention and validation, it's like a drug. That's why a lot of these gals eventually, if they're not already, start going on Instagram and TikTok and other social media to get attention. And they start putting pictures on there and they get some attention. And then next thing you know, they start having more revealing pictures of their shorter skirts, shorter shorts. They get more attention, more likes, stuff like that. And next thing you know, their videos. Next thing is them in the bikinis at the beach. You see attention and validation. It doesn't stop. So you got a gal, guys, right now, if you're dating relationship guys, that's always posting on Instagram pictures of herself, get out. Because you're never going to be enough. Ever. And it's not going to stop. And it'll only get worse. And we all know where that direction that goes. Anyway, so she was selling him on this bullshit idea. It says here, it was like I was listening to a complete stranger. The entire time she was talking, I realized that the love I felt for this woman that I thought I would be married to for a lifetime was gone. There I was sitting with a stranger, and I couldn't get the thoughts out of my head that she was probably already sleeping with someone else, or at least knew who she wanted to sleep with, and I was disgusted. It's one of the two. I guarantee you, bro, it's one of the two. When she finished her sales pitch, that's what it felt like. I sat there quietly thinking for a while. I could tell she was nervous, and the longer I didn't say anything, the more uncomfortable she seemed to be. I'd sit there for half an hour thinking, just to see what she'd do. And then I'd walk out. Janet finally asked me what I thought about the idea after telling me how much she loved me and our life together, and she didn't want anything or anyone to come between us. She's actually saying these words. It's like, again, there's this book, a manual of all the shit they're supposed to say to try to convince these guys to do this, because it's always the same thing. She said if I didn't like the idea, we could just forget it. But now that I knew she was either banging someone else or at least had someone targeted, I knew our marriage was over. Yes, it is, bro. And that's what I've been saying all along. I'm really sorry to hear this. I really am. Because you seem like you were in love with her and you thought a good thing was going on. You were loyal and good to her, as a husband ought to be to a woman that deserves it. Well, she didn't deserve it, as it turns out. Maybe it was petty or possibly my caveman DNA peeking out. But I wanted to show her that I had options. If she was bringing it up, I had no doubt that she had eyes for someone else. I knew we still had some legal paperwork to end the marriage, but in my mind, the moment she brought up the idea, I was single. I told her, fine, if that's what you want to do, we'll open up the marriage. Now watch what happens next. You guys will never see this coming. She smiled and said that we should talk about the rules, and I started laughing. I told her that you just told me you want to F other guys and you think they're going to have rules? Because she wants to control the situation. She looked shocked at first and then a bit panicked before saying that maybe it wasn't such a good idea. Something in her told her this isn't a good idea, but too late. I told her it was too late and this is what she wanted. I talked before about having opportunities that I never explored. One of them was a lady that I had worked with for a little while, more than 2 years ago. We'll call her Renee. She was very pretty, single, and had been openly flirting with me for about a year before she propositioned me. She's not the kind of woman that I would have ever entertained being in a relationship with, but she was perfect for what I needed from her. So notice he said that she propositioned him and he turned her down because this guy has some freaking integrity. He's married. Not going to happen. That's great that you're attracted to me. I'm sure he enjoyed the attention, but he wasn't going to act on it. But now that he knows things are over, watch this. I pulled out my phone with Janet watching me and called her. I can still remember the look of shock that evolved into what I can only describe as terror on Janet's face while I was talking to Renee. When she answered, I told her that my wife just opened up our marriage and asked her what she was doing that night. She said that she had made plans with one of her friends but would love to cancel them and hang out, so I made the date with her right in front of Janet before hanging up the phone. Bro, that is awesome. I never ever saw that happening because, again, I guarantee in her mind, she's either hooking up with someone else or she's got dudes to hook up with. And she's thinking, oh, no problem, because I'm going to get plenty of dudes. She knows darn well if she's above average look, she's going to have no problem getting dudes, but she knows also it's going to be harder for you. Even if you're a good-looking guy, that's a catch, it still won't be as easy for you as for her. But right there, boom, okay. You get out the phone call. That's hilarious. I did not see that coming when I first read this story. Janet started freaking out, asking me what I was doing, and even tried to say that she thought we were going to the movies. I just laughed at her when what I wanted to do was cry now that the marriage was over. Yeah, internally this guy's heart is being ripped out, but he has the ultimate poker face here. That was when Janet said we didn't have an open marriage and that I couldn't go out with Renee. Oh, no. You spent 30 minutes on the couch convincing me all the glory and benefits of open marriage, and now that I have an option with a girl, and you saw it, now all of a sudden, oh, never mind, we don't have an open marriage. Nope, too late. You opened Pandora's box, you opened this can of worms, that's it, too bad. I had no idea what was going through her head, but I was guessing that she didn't think she would get replaced so easily. I was crushed, but I was damned if I was going to let her know how much pain I was in. I just got up and went to our room to take a shower to get ready to go out, while she was following me, asking me not to go through with it. She was apologizing for bringing up the idea and saying it was a mistake. She even suggested that we could go to marriage counseling to work past this. I probably could have, but the moment my wife basically told me that she wanted to go F other guys, there was no amount of counseling that would have put that broken mirror back together. The more she begged, the more disgusted I was. Dude, if you didn't do that, and you went along with this, oh, let's make some rules BS that she mentioned a few minutes earlier, she wouldn't be reacting like this. She'd be planning her freaking dates. I hated that our relationship ended like this. I'm not sure if it was my anger or just me being petty. But I took my time getting ready and really went all out to make sure I dressed to the nines. By the time I was ready to leave, Janet was bawling and begging me not to go out. Imagine that, because again, this is the same woman that wanted to get a whole lot of sausage and was selling this guy on the idea, but now all of a sudden this guy's an option, and look at her bawling her eyes out. Last line defense, I might add. In our entire relationship, I loved her. Probably more than I was healthy for me. But watching her laying on our bed bawling because I was taking her up on her idea, all I could feel was hatred for what she'd done to our marriage and all the plans we had for the future. I could have probably just left without saying anything, but I wanted her to hurt as much as I was. When I was turning to leave, I told her to not wait up for me and left the apartment. Damn, dude, way to rub salt in the wound. The only thing I could hear was Janet's body-wrenching sobs, and I felt like crap. Not because she was in pain, I wanted that. I felt like crap because all the work I put in the relationship was for nothing. Yeah, 5 years is no small amount of time, and then also the 3 years that you were with her before you got married. But you know what? You're 31 years old. You got your whole life ahead of you, bro, and I'll get back to that at the end. I'm not going to go into too many details about the rest of my evening, but I can report that Renee had a wonderful evening. I did have to silence my phone because Janet was blowing it up for most of the night. I bet she was. When I got home in the morning, Janet and one of her friends were sitting on the couch talking. Of course she has a friend over in your apartment. Well, Janet was mostly crying while her friend talked. As soon as I walked in, her friend started cussing at me for being a bastard and cheating on Janet. A little shocked at that, I asked her if she knew that Janet was the one that opened up the marriage. Then she tried to say that I was breaking the rules or some such nonsense. Bro, you're the bad guy. In their eyes, you're the bad guy. I would have said, oh, you're cussing me out in my apartment? Well, you can get the hell out of here right now. End of story. He says, whatever. I told her that she didn't need to worry about it anymore since we were going to be getting divorced. That was when Janet lost it. She was crying and saying that she would forgive me if we closed the marriage. Wait a second. She's going to forgive you? What'd you do? She wanted to open the marriage, by the way. We all know that. All tens of thousands of dudes that are going to watch this story over the next 24 to 48 hours heard that. She wanted to do this. He gave her what she wanted. What's the problem? That we could work past this. I told her that the marriage was over the second she told me she wanted to F other guys, and since the apartment was in my name, she will be moving out. Good for you. Look what all this RP content has helped this guy with. He was already married, sure he got married too young, fine, but he started watching it, learning to have some self-freaking respect, spot the red flags and all that. If you didn't do that, I think this would be a very different scenario. I could write an entire book about our divorce, but long story short was that she moved in with her friend, and we spent the next couple of months splitting up all the things while our divorce was being processed. Thank God for the prenup agreements, or it would have been pretty ugly. So here I am 3 months out from my divorce, a changed man. I'll never make the mistake of getting married again. I gave Janet and our relationship everything. Everything I had, but it wasn't enough for her. You hear people say that stupid expression, happy wife, happy life, but it's bullshit. Dude, I did a whole video on that just 2 or 3 days ago about the whole happy wife, happy life thing is BS. I'm sure a lot of you guys saw that, and if you didn't, check it out. And it was based on an article that a woman wrote. A woman said it was BS because the woman who wrote this obviously wants a guy that acts like a freaking man, not some brown-nosing, pleasing, spineless kiss-ass of a dude who's weak. He says, it's impossible to make a woman happy. I'll never make that mistake of trying again. My family was pretty angry with me when I first filed for the divorce, but when they found out what really happened, they understood. Apparently, Janet had told my mom that I cheated on her, but when I explained that it was Janet's idea to open the marriage, my mom cussed her out for being a liar and blocked her. Good for your mom. I'm glad mom stood with you. Because sadly, a lot of these stories I go over, like the one I did yesterday, which is very popular, the mom didn't do that at all. So in the end, I guess I won, but it doesn't feel like a victory. I'm mostly just empty inside and angry that so much of my life was wasted on Janet. For now, I'll be focusing on my work and trying to get back to some of my hobbies that have fallen off over the years. I still occasionally hook up with Renee, but she understands they will never be anything more than F-buddies. She seems to be okay with that. If I have any regrets, it's probably that I'll never be a father, but in this day and age, women are just too unpredictable to bring a child into life. That's it. Other than some instant revenge, I still feel like I lost a lot. Hopefully my story can help some other guys out there. I'm sure there are good women hiding out there somewhere, but I'll be damned if I know where to find them. Good luck to all. Well, bro, thank you for sharing your story. And like all the stories you heard that helped you out, you sharing your story will help others out. So we keep doing this, guys, to help each other out here. But damn, bro, that was quite a tale. You handled that like a boss. And I'm sure it was tearing you apart inside when you, excuse me, guys, tearing you apart inside when she had this conversation with you and you were doing all that. But you know what? She got what she deserved. You handled it like a boss. That is awesome. I'm proud of you. And as for saying, you wasted all those years, yeah, you were with her for 5 years married and 3 years dating her beforehand. But you know what? You're 31. You got your whole life ahead of you. I know it feels like, oh shit, I'm now in my 30s. I'm an old man. That's what I thought when I turned 30. Well, guess what? I'm 44 years old now, and I would give anything to go back to be 31-year-old me with the knowledge that I have now. Holy shit. And at the time I felt old. You're not old. You got your whole life ahead of you. So just, like you said, work on yourself, go back to doing all the hobbies and stuff and things you used to enjoy probably before you started getting serious with her, because a lot of guys, they get with a gal and they get serious with her and those things start dropping off. So go back to doing things that you enjoyed, going back to being who you were. I'd recommend, if you don't do it already, get active, hitting the gym or some kind of physical exercise. It's going to make you feel better, because these last few months when you're finalizing the divorce, and then when it's going to be emotional for you, even though that you're done and you had enough of her and all that, it's still going to be emotional. You're a human being. So if you're not doing that already, hit a gym, start working out. If you don't know what you're doing, hire a trainer, start lifting some weights, learning some exercises. If that's not your thing, mountain biking, cycling, jogging, I don't care what the hell, bouncing around on a pogo stick, I don't care, but get physically active and you'll feel better. And then just keep working on your career, moving up in the world, saving money, hanging out with your bros, being with the family, and let your life take its course. And if you're still hooking up with that girl Renee for some occasional action, just be careful. Always wear protection. Always dispose of that protection. I'm going to add that in there too. And just be careful. But like you said, you think there's some good ones out there, but they're very hard to find. Yeah, they're not all like your wife. Unfortunately, a huge chunk of the population in varying degrees is. So you definitely have to do some searching. But there are some conservative, traditional gals out there. But because I never say they're all like that. I know you got other channels, guys saying all, but I think I'm more of a middle of the road approach in my view on things. But it's going to be very hard to find them. But I wouldn't be in any rush for relationships. You got to work on you. You are your number one. Your purpose. You are the most important thing in life. That's how it has to be. No more putting girls on the pedestal and all that. And it sounds to me that even though you were a relationship guy and got married at a young age, it never sounded to me like you were like a pushover or put her on the pedestal or anything like that at all. Some people may disagree with me. That's fine. But anyhow, guys, wrapping this up, that was a hell of a story. This guy handled it great. Good for him. This could definitely inspire a lot of guys. This, again, why I said in the beginning, it's so important that all guys watch this type of content, educate themselves, see what's going on. You don't have to like me, but in fact, you could probably watch this and think I'm a total freaking jackass. But after a while, you might realize these things I talk about, my opinions on these subjects, the stories I share, there is a pattern here, and this can help out guys, as it did with this guy. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think. Let him know in the comment section that how you appreciate his story. Give him some support, because he definitely needs this. And also, guys, if you have a really good story you'd like to share, just like this dude, or something you're going through, I don't care what it is, something related I talk about in this channel, email me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And if your story is a really good one, I'll definitely cover it. Give me some time, because I get tons of these every day. You guys have been great sending the content, and I'll keep them out. I'm trying to get at least 2 videos a day between this channel and my other channel, They Did What, which is all crazy stories, and sometimes doing 3 videos a day. But it's a lot of work, so the more you send to me, the more you make it easy for me to read and go through. I can just keep cranking these suckers out every day. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.